Good afternoon, everyone. My topic for presentation in today's seminar is pandemic and the destabilization of human existence. Before I begin this seminar, before I begin my presentation, I want to show my sincere gratitude to Gwenda ma'am for organizing this FIP in such a wonderful manner, and secondly, all my heartiest thanks to all my co-participants. I wish this would have been this entire thing. It was like I wish it was a kind of a physical thing that we could meet together, but what we cannot do anything because of this present scenario. So hope to meet you someday, maybe in the next 5 years, somewhere, something like this. So with that, I want to start my presentation, and my topic is pandemic and the destabilization of human existence. Okay, we all know that pandemic COVID-19 is a global health crisis, and this health crisis has been actually creating a havoc in our lives. It has absolutely changed our existence, our living, our process of thinking, everything. But is this crisis only related to health, or is this crisis only related to economy, where many people losing their jobs, people are into the streets, they have nothing in their hands, there are huge amount of migrant laborers running around from every corners in the cities, going back to their own places, own villages, where they are trying to survive. And there is also a huge crisis that is related to education, where students, they are just sitting in the home for almost 1.5 years now. Not only the students, but we the teachers also doing the same thing. There obviously we are trying in our own way to reach out to the students through these technological innovations, new understanding of this technology, all these things we are doing. But is there any bigger crisis, or is there any other nature of crisis that we are that we are overlooking actually, or we have this tendency to overlook those crises because of this health, economy and education? They have been so very severe on us. And this crisis I found out to be the crisis related to space. Now if we talk about space, I mean, space may be in home, space may be in office, space may be anywhere. Okay, so if we look at this concept of space as a concept is mostly gendered. Okay, there is a gendered space, that this space belongs to women, this is this particular space for the men. So space, they are mostly gendered, and at times they are even polarized. So then space as a nature, as a concept, can be said to have two aspects. One is the gendered aspect of a space, and another is this nature, this polarized nature. And when we talk about polarization, when we talk about this polarized space, we can actually see that this polarization is taking place between home and the world, and the private and the public space. The space in home and the space in the outside world. The space on equivalent to this home is the private world and the public world. And this actually reminds us of one of Tagore's famous novel, which obviously has been transformed into film by Satyajit Ray, that is The Home and the World, and the Bengali name of the film is Gore Baide. So here Tagore dealt with the concept of space in its gendered nature, as well as in its polarized form, that is the private and the public. So space has always been a crisis in this 21st century. Now if we look at these two spheres that we are talking about, that the public sphere and the private sphere, public sphere is a space which is dominated by the male members. It is the outside world. Okay, it can be the inside world, which can be the in 19th century Bengal, this public sphere was there inside the home even, and that is something, that is a space that is that was designated for outside people coming inside the home to talk and spend some quality time with eating and drinking. And this was happening in the Renaissance Bengal, in the upper class people, in the homes of the upper class people. Okay, and this space is something that we called Bangali Boitokhana. It's something, Boitokhana is now we call this living room. That time Boitokhana was different. The concept of Boitokhana was different. It's not like the living room that we are accustomed to see today, right? It was something that was outside the room, okay, outside the main corpus of the building, or maybe in the ground floor where the women members of the family would not come in. Okay, so that was something there. Now this space, the outside public sphere, is a discursive space. Okay, it is a place of an intellectual simulation where people from different area, different zone, different social domain come together to interact with each other. Okay, obviously it is a space where we find there is a lot of male participation, and mostly it has the tendency to exclude women. I'm sorry, I've written it here money. It's basically mostly it excludes women from that space, and when it's private space, it is designated to the women mostly, and it is a family space. Even public and private sphere has been distinguished in sociological studies. Public sphere is a space where strangers come together, and a private space is a smaller arena or domain comprising mostly of the family members. So it's more of a cozy atmosphere of private space. Public space is not that cozy. It's where it's a mixture of strangers together, it's coming together, okay, of people of different culture, different social stratum, different religion. Maybe they come together, they meet for a certain period of time, and then they part their ways. So this is a public sphere. Private sphere is a very cozy emotional bonding to be found in that space. Okay, and actually this distinction has its root in the Greek culture. Actually, it has its manifestation in the Greek culture. In the Greek culture, we find that public sphere is a political space where rules and regulations of a society were formed. So Greeks, they were very concerned about the rules and regulations of society. They were always concerned about an ideal society, an ideal state. So these rules and regulations were something that were formed in this public sphere. It was a democratic atmosphere that was prevalent in there, that actually gave this chance. And private sphere was a domestic family space. Now, when you talk about public sphere, there is no discussion that can be continued without talking about Habermas's idea of public sphere in his book, The Structural Transformation of the Public Sphere. Okay, it is according to Habermas, it is a space where there is a free exchange of ideas. We talk with each other, right, and we exchange our ideas. Even here also we are talking with each other, we are exchanging our ideas. It is a significant place in democracy. Because why it's a significant place? Because in democracy you have your you can share your views, you can place your ideas. Maybe we cannot do at this period of time because of certain issues that's going around us, but still this is an ideal, this is the proper definition of a democracy. And we also witness conglomeration of people from different culture or segment in this public space. It is a place where one can voice one's own views, and stems the growth of public authority, which consequently expresses public opinion. Okay, so this is a very important space, public sphere. And what is important, if we see at Habermas's concept of private sphere, he actually is of opinion both public and private sphere, they are arbitrary. What are the ideas that we are projecting in the public sphere? Anything about literature, film, movies, anything, education, politics, anything. These ideas are basically formed in the private sphere. How? Suppose I have grown up watching certain kinds of movies. Okay, I have grown up watching, seeing my mother reading books. So I'll also start. I'll try. There is a possibility that I might in imbibe within me the habit of reading books. So this is a cultural thing that I'm inheriting from my mother, and those books actually give me the idea. So this is idea is found in the home itself, and those ideas I proliferate them or bring them in public in the public sphere. So we can actually refer to the 18th century coffee house debates in London, which and we said is a classic example where private sphere extended its ambit to form up Western public sphere. Private sphere, as I've already told you, is it's a more domestic in nature. It's related to family members, and it is an apparently up till the COVID-19 had hit back and non-integrated space insulated from societal politics, right? It's not connected with the societal politics in general. Okay, but the concept of this space, this private space, which is we generally associate with home, has been redefined in pandemic era. What is interesting, up till now I've been talking about public sphere. Nowhere uh, I have mentioned the position of women. Okay, and there has been a systematic way by which the women, they have been left out from this public domain. Pandemic, what it has done, it has actually modified the preconceived notions of public and private sphere. Home, till date or up till the arrival of pandemic, we knew that it was considered to be a private sphere, but is metamorphosed into a new public sphere. Why? Because the public domain now is characterized by several pandemic protocols like social distancing, the pandemic rules, the norms have that public sphere and challenging space of limitations and restrictions. All these things have what it has done, it has made the public sphere a difficult area to move around, right? Okay, there has been a constant distance that has been maintained. Okay, as a result, we are doing work from our home. So home becomes a space of pretension. How we are at home, but we are at the same time not at home. How? When I'm working, see, I'm doing this FIP session. This 15 days I'm engaged with this thing. 25 days I'm engaged. Okay, I'm in my home. I'm home till 9 to 5 in the morning. Okay, but actually I'm engaged in the public sphere. The public sphere has actually proliferated into the private sphere. So the concept of space is redefined. Okay, work from home becoming the new normal with a blind dependence on technology. We are dependent on technology at this point of time. So every time there is a power cut in our end, we lose the classes. Every time there is a power cut in Nehu, we are again asking each other, what happened? We cannot get. Is there in the class going on? Is the problem related to only me? So see, we are not sure actually whether there is a class that is there, that is running or not. We are constantly questioning our own connections. In a way, we are questioning our own selves. Are we there? Is our existence felt? So this is a problem with this pandemic. This is a problem with this technology. This is a problem with the modern lifestyle. So even what is the problem? Big corporate houses have already started to allow that even after the pandemic they are going to make their workers work from home permanently. This is a new world order. A world order, it is a privatized public sphere, or a home that is public. Okay, now it has actually blurred the distinction between public and private sphere. It's a kind of a new male hegemony, and it would doubly impact the gender discrimination. The home that was supposed to be the sphere of women, the non-working women I'm referring to, India still have a huge percentage of women who doesn't work. Okay, it's for them it's a huge problem. Even it's a problem for the couples who are both working. they're staying at home with each other, but they cannot communicate, because in this public sphere, that is the home that has been transformed, there are no working hours. There is no limitations, no boundaries to working hours. They just continue to work. So even staying at home, they are pretending they are not at home. So two people staying together in front of each other, working on the same table, may not even talk to each other for 8-9 hours. So this is what real social distancing is all about. The social distancing that we try to maintain is something, I feel the term is negatively used here. It shouldn't be social distancing, it should be physical distancing. It is the physical distancing that is there working in the public sphere, but it is the social distancing that is working in the private sphere unknowingly. Okay, so this is what the pandemic has done. Okay, this is what the pandemic has done to our lives. Maybe I don't know what happens after 2 years, 1 year. Okay, but at this point in time, it has got a very, very negative impact in human relationships, in conjugal relationships, and even in the lives of women. There are so many women who don't get to hear about them, who are being beaten by their husband regularly. There are so many conjugal relationships that are being trampled every day because of the pressures they cannot take of their office, of their home. There's so many relationships that are going haywire because of this situation. So we have continuously been stressing on economy, education, and health, global health. Obviously, those three are the pillars of the society. But all these things will become meaningless if we tend to lose ourselves, our relationships, our emotions, because of this continuous proliferation of the public domain into the private lives, that through the medium of technology. So if technology is a blessing, it's a bane. Okay, it's a very good thing, but there are obviously negative sides to everything. Okay, thank you. This is all I had to say. Thank you very much.